What up, dude bros? I'm Frank. This is a review of this fun Chinese UMP45 clone thing I found. But this is a high-performance, spring-powered pump-action blaster that uses mags and shoots these weird 3/4 length darts for some reason. Let's get into it. Included is the blaster, disassembled, magazine, sights, optic, screwdriver, instructions, and darts for days. External overview of the blaster, starting up at the front. There's no in-strike barrel lug, but above the muzzle is a front flip-up sight that attaches to the Picatinny rail, and that corresponds with the rear flip-up sight right here. So it comes with flip-up sights and this mock EOTech sight. But these rails and the optic are attached to this long Picatinny-style rail that runs all the way along the top of the blaster, and this is compatible with other Picatinny airsoft attachments if you don't like these attachments. But up on top of the blaster, I have the included optic installed. It's supposed to look like an EOTech, and I think the silhouette and outline overall does look like an EOTech. And then you can push this button, and it activates this green little EOTech sight. Obviously, it's not a real holographic sight, it's just supposed to look like one, but this reticle is etched into that plastic so it's stationary, so it looks really cool when you look down the optic. The visibility through the optic isn't great, it's not going to actually help you shoot more accurately, but it definitely makes you feel more cool, and that's the point. But this is a removable attachment, so you can take all of this off and put on a different optic if you want to. Up front, we have the priming handle to prime. You do that. The prime strength required is a little heavier than a normal Nerf blaster, but not nearly as heavy as you'd think considering it's shooting 150 FPS. It is a deceivingly light prime that's very smooth. When I bought this, I was expecting it to be a prop toy piece of trash, but it operates more like a worker blaster with like hardcore reinforced internals that are very smooth operating. So it features a very smooth prime action. This is a really nice blaster to handle and shoot. Moving back to the mag well, to get the magazine out, you strike the mag paddle right here. That is on the center line so a right and left-handed shooter can use it equally. Oh, lampy, bro. Then you can pull the mag out like that. The included magazine holds 15 darts, but this is a proprietary magazine and it shoots these weird 3/4 length darts. It's not a full-length elite dart, but it's not a half dart, it's a 3/4 dart. That being said, the diameter is actually the same, so if you want to get full-length darts and cut them down to 3/4 lengths, it will feed through this blaster. But it uses a compression barrel, so make sure you're using darts that have inset dart tips, so the dart tip doesn't drag on that barrel. And you can cut down full-length darts and it will work with this blaster. The blaster came with 100 darts, so that's pretty nice, but I can't find these readily available anywhere. But interestingly, you can actually get half-length darts and load them in, and it will work. Now, you have to stack these and load it really, really gently, but it will actually feed half-length darts. But I'm not saying it's like compatible with half-length darts. The moment you bump the magazine, they all turn over and the feeding just gets all jammed up in the mag. So bummer on mag compatibility, but again, the included magazine holds 15 darts. Inserting the magazine and removing the magazine is pretty smooth, and it has a very cool angle to it, looking like the UMP45, which just feels super tactical because that gun just looks awesome, and I think this one cosmetically looks flippin' sweet. But moving on, back to the trigger. The trigger pull is very smooth. It feels, again, like a worker gun, not like a Nerf gun. The trigger break is really crisp. This one is a really fun blaster to shoot, but it does not have slam fire, so it's single fire only. And this red thing right here is actually the plunger tube. You can see it through the blaster shell, and I think because it's such a big, wide plunger tube, that's probably why they're able to have such a smooth prime. Using a weaker spring with a bigger plunger tube gives you really high velocity, but still a super smooth, easy prime. And now down to the grip. Overall, this is a pretty comfortable grip. It's a pretty good size, and I think it's going to be welcoming to most hand types. It's a very unoffensive, fairly neutral grip. So I don't think anyone's going to say this is my favorite grip ever, but very few people are going to complain about this design, which I like. So overall, pretty good grip. Now back to the stock. This is an adjustable and removable stock. But since it's a PDW style stock, you're really not supposed to remove it. You're supposed to just collapse it all the way and it essentially disappears in length. And it's pretty cool that the sidebars run right next to the plunger tube right here. The idea of a PDW stock is to be very compressed but not side folding, which would block your ejection port from functioning. So you can totally use it in fully compressed form and it's as if it's not there. And if you need it, you press the button and pull it out like that. Very tactical design. You buy this because it looks cool and it makes you feel cool. It's actually not super functional in the Nerf world, and I found it to be slightly uncomfortable to put my face up against these metal bars. And right here, there's some really sharp bits that caught my face occasionally, which was like surprisingly uncomfortable. And when I was shouldering the blaster and it rubbed up against my chest, it cut me a couple times. So if you don't like that, I'd recommend you get a Dremel and a sanding drum and just sand that down a little bit. It's a bit of a hazard. That would not be on a Nerf or Dart's own product. This is just some Chinese Amazon stuff. And that is the stock. And if you wanted to completely remove it, you can, but again, there's really no point. That's an external overview of this blaster. Now I'll show you it firing. Shooting the included 3/4 length darts. So I used a black permanent marker on the back of these darts to add some contrast for video visibility. help at all. Now, multi-loading a little. The performance out of this unit completely blew me away. Considering I paid $50 for it, I was expecting this to be a prop tier piece of crap. But it shoots really hard and the operation is super smooth. The smoothness of the operation isn't something that shows through on video, but when you use like a worker blaster, it's just more reinforced, it's stronger, and it seems like it's designed around play. This one is the same way. The prime action is really smooth, the trigger release is nice, and the performance is really good. But a note on performance, I was not getting very good accuracy out of the included ammo. When I shot dart zone half-length darts, it shot pretty accurately, so it's not the fault of the blaster itself. So that's a bit of a bummer, and again, you can shoot half-length darts out of it, but it's not like designed around it, and I'm not gonna say they're compatible, because right when you bump the magazine, you completely jam up the blaster. But other than the magazine jams that were presented only when using half-length darts, I did not actually experience any jams or malfunction with the blaster itself. So overall, surprisingly positive play experience with this one. To compare this blaster to others, I put it up on my chronograph. With the included 3/4 length darts, achieved an average velocity of 155 feet per second, and with Dart Zone Ruby half-length darts, 139 feet per second. So this is shooting way harder than the Nerf Elite Par of about 70 feet per second. This is shooting up in the range of the Nexus Pro Max Striker and Game Face Try-On. That is the objective information I can provide on this blaster. Now to my personal opinion. Overall, I am pleasantly surprised by this blaster. I had such low expectations for this considering its appearance and price point, but it shoots hard and it's mechanically very smooth. It's a fun one to shoot in prime. A few complaints about the blaster. First, the stock. This plastic bit is just really sharp. I'm surprised this went to production. Anybody who used this would very quickly get cut by this, and I'm surprised it didn't sand this down. Granted, 30 seconds with my Dremel, the problem's fixed, so is that a real big deal? I don't know. But my number one complaint about this blaster is the ammo. 3/4 length darts. What the heck are you guys doing? All the dart blasters need to be shooting half darts or full darts, but this 3/4 lengths, like what are you guys doing? Yeah, you can technically get your full length darts and cut them down to this size and they do feed correctly. But that's annoying. Don't make me do stuff. I just want to buy the darts that are ready to shoot. And I don't think they would have destroyed the aesthetic of this blaster by making it shoot half length darts. It still would have been proportionate to the UMP45. So that's a big complaint. I think this blaster would be better if it just used standard half length darts. But when I bought it, I wasn't expecting it to shoot 150 FPS. I wasn't expecting anything from it. I thought it was going to be a prop toy piece of crap. I thought this was going to be more of an ironic review like when I reviewed all those pistols, but it's not. It actually shoots really well. So overall opinion is surprisingly positive given what this blaster is offering. Now to the question to buy or not to buy. I think this blaster is best suited for a very specific type of nerfer. It's not going to fit most people. The biggest downside that's going to push most people away from buying it is it's not compatible with your darts, and more importantly, it's not compatible with your existing mags. It doesn't work with Talon mags or any other half dart magazine. It doesn't work with N-Strike mags. And this Amazon seller doesn't sell these magazines separately. So, you're pretty limited in your ability to really run this as a normal blaster, because one 15-round magazine just isn't enough in today's Nerf scene. So for most competitive Nerfers and people trying to effectively fling foam, no, I don't think this one is right for you. However, if you're a huge fan of the UMP45 because you think it looks awesome, like me, I love that gun, and you're looking for a blaster that doesn't shoot wimpy 70 FPS and you want it to really smack, yeah, consider buying this blaster. The operation is super smooth and it's a pretty fun one to use. But again, if you're not after the cosmetics of a UMP45, there are better options out on the market. So hopefully I've laid out everything you need to make an educated purchase decision on your own. If you'd like to buy one of these, I'll put a buy link in the description box below. That concludes this video review. Thanks so much for watching, bros, and as always, stay tactical.